Hey, this is René. Welcome back to this channel. And today I will show you how to write or program a indicator in MetaTrader 5 that shows you all the chart patterns in any chart you want. So in the previous 6 videos in total, I talked about this pattern detector expert advisor. And this program does pretty much the same what we will do now as an indicator. So you can see I'm running it here in the strategy tester. It can indicate the signals, like for example the morning or evening star chart pattern, and it can draw arrows and give you this little text information where a pattern is found. So this is working just fine, but it is not indicating anything like for the past. So in the historical chart, you do not see any chart pattern. It only starts once the expert advisor is activated. And this is typical for an expert advisor. Expert advisors usually work from the point on when they are activated in a chart, and they, in most cases, do not look back at the history of the chart. So we will now turn this program into an indicator. So if you haven't watched the previous programming videos about the hammer, the morning and evening star, and the bullish and bearish engulfing, you should go back now and watch them, because I will not explain everything in complete detail again, but instead I will focus on the indicator part in this video. So as I said, we have this program already, so let's have a look at it in the MetaQuotes language editor. So you can find this tool clicking on Tools in your MetaTrader 5 and then click on MetaQuotes language editor. This will open the program or the meta editor, and here you can see I already have this pattern detector expert advisor open. So this is the program that we wrote, and today we will focus on these functions here to find the chart patterns. So in fact, we will have a look at the hammer signal, I think, because then you can do the rest alone. So whenever we want to write a indicator, we should create a new indicator file for this first. So you can click in the upper left corner on New, then make sure that Custom Indicator is selected. You click on Next, then you can add a name. I can say Pattern Detector Indicator. Doesn't really matter what name you choose. Then you click on Next, Next, and Finish. And that's it. This will create an indicator for you. So the first lines are not really interesting for us, so we can delete them. Then we have these comments here, and I will also delete them because it makes our code a little bit shorter. And what we have left is the onInit function and the onCalculate function. And these are the functions that we will now use. And we will also add some more functions, because we have this pattern detector program already. And again, I explained every single line of code in this program. So make sure to watch the previous videos. I will put everything in a playlist together, and you can see everything that we did here. And what I will do here is I will take this getHammerSignal function and I will copy the complete function. And this is another benefit that you just see, which comes with this kind of programming where you create functions. Because I can now copy this function and I can put it into my pattern detector indicator. And if I compile this, there's no problem. Okay, right now there is a problem because I have one more function that I need to add, and it is the create object function, because this function is called in the getHammerSignal function. But once I copied this function, which is the function that we created to create these arrows and the description of the chart pattern, so once I copy this function, and if I compile the program now, you can see everything compiles without any errors. So you can just take functions from any program you like and copy it into another program, and you do not have to do the same work again. So you can just make use of the functions that are already there. And what we can do now here is we can say yeah, we will ignore this warning for now, and we will work with the create object function to create the signals in the chart. So what we can do here is, typically you want to use the onCalculate function in an indicator for your main programming part, because this onCalculate function, it has several parameters, and these parameters are arrays. You can see them here, or there are at least a lot of arrays, and these arrays they delivered all the time, open, high, low, etc., parameters for every single bar in the chart. So whenever we have a chart, doesn't matter in which time frame it is, because this onCalculate function always refers to the current time frame, and we always have the open price, the high, the low, the close of every single bar in this chart stored in these arrays. And they are given to us for free pretty much as a parameter of this onCalculate function. And the onCalculate function itself, it is called automatically by the MetaTrader 5 whenever there's a new tick, for example, or I think when you activate the program, it is also called. So what we can do here is we can place our code here. So the main problem with the Expert Advisor was that it only indicates the signals that appear once the program is started. So you can see here in the history, there are no signals. And this is the main difference between an Expert Advisor and an indicator, I think. So what we do here in the indicator, we loop through all the bars in a chart, through all the bars in the current chart with the currently selected time frame, and we will check for every single bar if there is a signal. So we can do it using a loop. So what we can do is we can use a for loop, and we can say for I, or we can say for, wait, this is, yeah, we can say for I equals 1, I think, and then we say as long as I is smaller than weights total, because weights total is another variable that is delivered when the program calls, or the MetaTrader calls, this onCalculate function. So you can see this is another parameter, and again, this is automatically filled by the MetaTrader. So we can always expect that this weights total variable holds the total amount of bars in the chart. And this is so because this function also return, oh no, this is something else. So we can assume that this variable always holds the value of the total amount of bars in the chart. For example, if this chart here, if this chart has 3,323 bars, this would be the exact value stored in this rates total variable, right? So we can go like this, and then we say I++ after every run of this for loop. Oh, and of course we have to say this is a integer variable. So we can use this loop to pretty much loop through all the different bars, because I taught this in several tutorials before. Every bar in a chart has a index. So the latest bar at the very right side, it always has index 0. The previous bar has index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3, this is index 4, and so on and so on. And yeah, so we can now, since we loop through all the indexes of this chart, we run this loop, or the body of this loop, for every single bar. So the only thing we have to do now here is, oh no, we have to change one more thing, but I will do this later on. Okay, so what we have to do here is we have to call the getHammerSignal function here. So we can say getHammerSignal, then we say max ratio shadow short, and this is nothing new. These are just the parameters that we declared for this getHammerSignal. So we can say the short shadow shall be no longer than 0.1 or 10% of the candle, and the min ratio for the long shadow, it shall be at least 0.7. It doesn't really matter what you want to choose here. So if we compile this, there's no real difference to the expert advisor, because there's one more thing we have to do. If we have a look at this getHammerSignal function, you can see that all these parameters, or the time, the high, the low, the open and the close, they are always received using the I high, I time, I low, etc. function, but we always have the fixed shift value of 1. And this is the part where we have to make a difference, pretty much. So we could say, for example, that we provide this index as a parameter for the getHammerSignal function. So we can say here index instead of 1. Index, index, and index. So if we do it like this, you can now see the getHammerSignal has a wrong parameter count, and this is because we will have to provide the index, and this is of course I. And if I compile this program now, it still works, it still compiles, and now I can activate it on any chart. And I probably made a mistake somewhere, but we will still test it. Wait, what's the name? It's pattern detector indicator, I think. So we should find it somewhere here in the MetaTrader now in the indicators drop-down menu. So we will find this pattern detector indicator, and we can say OK. Oh no, I think I did not make any mistake. So you can see this indicator should now display all the hammer signals everywhere in this chart. So you can see this is like the main difference between a indicator and a expert advisor, because indicators are designed usually to display the history in the chart, and expert advisors usually work like from the point on when they are activated. Okay, so you can see this works, but this program is far away from being perfect. So I will show you some more things to optimize this program. So first of all, if we print I here, so if we compile this, you will now see, no, you will not see it because I'm recording this on a weekend. So we will have to run this in a strategy tester to see ticks. So you can use the strategy tester, which you can find if you click on view strategy tester. Then you can click on indicator, because you can also test indicators, not only expert advisors. And then you choose the pattern detector indicator. So if I run this program now, you will see something. So you can see, since I print I now, you can see that we get extremely big numbers, because this is like the amount of bars in the chart, right? So these are really big numbers, and we always loop through the complete bar now for every single tick. And this is far from being perfect, because once we did the first calculation for like the main part of the chart, we do not have to do this again with every single tick. So usually you should add some mechanism to your indicator that makes sure that you do not loop through all the bars with every single tick, because this will eat a lot of resources from your PC. So once you did this the first time, you can then only check the last 1 or 2 bars. So you will have to add some code to your program. And what we can do here is we can say that we do not want to start at index I, but we want to start at index previous calculated. And this again, of course, is another parameter of this onCalculate function. And this is why indicators are designed like this, because you will need all of these, or you can make use of all of these parameters at one point or another. So this previous calculated integer variable, it always holds the value that was returned by the previous call of the onCalculate function. And you can see this function returns an integer value. And here we can see this function by default returns the rate's total value. And the rate's total value is, of course, the value that is that holds the total amount of bars in the chart. So for the first run, the previous calculated value will be 0. But for the second run, it will be the amount of rates total. So this makes sure that we calculate everything on when we activate the program, the indicator, but from this point on, we only calculate the bars that come after this. So what we have to do here is we have to say previous calculated plus 1, I think. And yeah, this should make sure that we do not calculate everything with every single tick. So if I run the program again in the strategy tester, you can see there's still like this loop is still executed for every bar in the chart, right? But from this point on, we should not see this again, like this complete calculation. But yeah, we will have to wait until this is finished. Okay, I still made a mistake somewhere because now we do not calculate anything. So I will have to make sure that this loop is still calculated when new bars appear. So it starts at previous calculated plus 1. Yeah, this. I should make sure to change one more thing. That is another optimization. Okay, so since we do this here, which is okay, but doing this, we will have to call the iTime, the iHigh, the iLow, iOpen, and iClose function for every single bar. And since we have all of these values already in these arrays, we can just use the values from these arrays. So another way of doing it is not using like this index mechanism, but we can use these values straight away, right? So what we can do is we can say that as some parameters here, we will have the time, then we will have the high, we will have the low, we will have the open, and we will have the close, right? So we do not have to calculate these values here, but we just take them from the arrays. And this should also fix the problem that we have right now. Okay, because now I can add these parameters here for our getHammerSignal function call. So I can say the time, it shall be taken from this time array at index I. Then we have the high, which is taken from the array at index I. We have the low, again, from this index I. Then we have the open, and we have the close. We take all these values from these arrays here, right? So if we compile this and I think, wait, I have to remove this. Let me think for a second. And there's one more thing which is important if you work with these arrays. So usually I told you that the indexing of candles always starts at the right side, right? So this is index 0, this index 1, this index 2, this index 3, and so on and so on. For these arrays here that come as a parameter for this onCalculate function, it is reversed. So the indexing starts at the very first bar on the left side. So if I would scroll all the way to the left side and I find the very first bar at the left side, this would be index 0. And then counting starts from the left side. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. And the last bar is then the index of rates total minus 1. So, yeah, so we can start at previous calculated. Like this. And I think this will throw an error, but I mean, let's just try it. But I think we will get a critical error. No, we do not get an error here. And let's see if we now get the hammer signals. Okay, no, we do not get them, so we still have to make sure that we calculate this after the first tick also. Okay, I now did some testing and I think I found my mistake. What I have to do is I have to say I is previous calculated -1. And if we compile this now I think we will get the expected error. Yes, there's the expected error that we will have to take care of. But after this, the program should then run correctly. So we will have to make sure that we do not try to access a index of these arrays that does not exist. So what we have to do is we have to say if I is smaller than 0 or if I is greater than rates total -1, we can say continue, because these are the because all of these arrays, they only hold like the range of values or the range of indexes starting at 0 and ending at rates total -1. So if we compile it like this and if we run the program again now, we should see that it works. Oh, no, that's not really good. So there's still a problem that I will have to take care of. Okay, and there's one thing that I also forgot, because we only calculate as long as I is smaller than rates total -1. But now everything should work fine. And you can see if I now print like inside of this loop, if I print the value of I, and if we start the program again, you should now see that for the first time when we activate the program, we loop through all the bars in the chart. So you can see I is increasing, but if you check the timestamp here in front of the number, it is still like for the first bar here. So yeah, and from this point on now, we calculated every bar. And now, if I speed up this test, you can see now we only get the text message once per bar, because now we only check for new bars if there's a signal, and we do not check it for every single bar in the chart. And this is like really important to save resources from your PC. And yeah, this is how you can do it, and you typically have a loop in your indicators that look a little bit like this, or at least similar to this. So we can now delete this, and this is how you can write an indicator using the already existing functions. So let me talk you through the changes here, or through this indicator. So these, we didn't change anything here in the first 19 lines. Then we added these 4 lines, which is just this for loop, and this is like the important part of this indicator. So we make sure that we start for our first loop run, or when the indicator is started, that we start at the very left side of the chart. So we start at index 0, because, or even -1, but we take care of this issue here. So because we have nothing stored in the previous calculated variable for the first run of this loop. So we start at the very left side, and then we calculate all the way through all the bars until we reach the total amount of bars -1. Because this is like the very right side of the chart, right? And of course, after every loop run, we increase I by 1. Then we check if we have any invalid index stored in our variable I, because we will use this I variable as a index for all of our arrays here. So if there is an invalid index, we will just continue. So we will skip this loop run or execution, and we will automatically jump to the next execution of this loop run. So this is what you can do using this continue keyword. And then we just call the getHammerSignal function. And this is nothing new. The only thing that we changed is we provided 5 more parameters. And these are the parameters that we added here for our getHammerSignal function. But the rest of this function is exactly the same as we used it in the expert advisor. So we did not make any change in this getHammerSignal function or the createObject function. These are completely the same. So the main changes that we did, we added this loop to the indicator, then we created these parameters for the getHammerSignal function, and the rest is completely the same. And then in this loop, we just call the getHammerSignal function for every single bar in the chart. So what you can do now is you can now take this concept and try to add the engulfing and the star chart patterns. So you will make your indicator complete. But let me show it to you one more time, maybe in a normal chart. So indicator list, pattern detector. So if I now take this, oh, there's one more thing which I just saw. When we remove the program from the chart, we should take care that all of these objects are deleted. And there's a really easy and handy function for this. So go back to your program, then you add the onDinit function. So you just write the signature of this function, and in this function you can call objects delete all. And then you provide 0 as a chart ID. Oh, and maybe we should say a prefix is signal add. So it will then, wait, is it always, yeah. So then we delete all the objects in the current chart which have a name that starts with signal add. So if I now run the program again in this chart, and if I remove it, you will see that all of these things here, all of these objects are removed. So I delete it and nothing is removed. So there's a problem somewhere, I think. Signal add. Yeah, I mean, this is like the prefix for all of them. Oh, no, they are deleted. Oh, okay. I think it just takes some time, or you can say chart refresh or redraw. So it makes it directly. So let's run the program again. You can see all the hammer signals are added. And if I remove the program, all the hammer signals should be deleted. Yeah, now they're gone. And you can do this in any chart or any time frame. Oh, and this one more cool thing. If I change the time frame, for example, to M5 or H4, it's always, this indicator always automatically applies to the current chart time frame. And this is because this onCalculate function is built like this. So you always get these arrays, and they're always for the current chart time frame. And this is why indicators are so great to use to check for signals and to quickly navigate through timeframes, etc., etc. So this is how you can write an indicator that uses the existing getHammerSignal and also, of course, createObject functions from our previous pattern detector expert advisor. So this is it, and I think this is now the final video for the series where I ended. So play around with this concept. Again, you can add the star and engulfing signals, and I hope that you have fun with this program. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.